Yeah. Let me drop exclusive game from my exclusive mind. You be out here chasing fame, I stay steady on my grind. Zero diamonds, zero.
Thank you for tapping into the Exclusive Minds podcast. Today we're going to be having an exclusive conversation with exclusive content from Exclusive Minds. I'm your host, Rook, and
Joe?
let's get right into it.
So, again, we've had a little bit of a pause between episodes, so this one's going to probably come out midweek. Was this 2 weeks, I guess, since we've done the last one?
Yes, it has been 2 weeks. That seems to be the normal gap. I mean, give or take.
Yeah, I guess when the winter comes and things start to slow down in the real world, maybe we'll get back to a weekly thing. But
Yeah, I noticed in September in general, like every year, September seems to be like a pretty hectic month. Like
Yeah.
a really busy month. Either end of August or early September. That's when things start ramping up right before like the holiday period when people kind of want to get majority of the stuff done.
yeah, you don't even notice it. I guess it's the seasonal shifts.
Yeah.
You know, you don't think much about it. You kind of say, seasonal shifts, but then you start to think, God, there's just so much that goes on when you're like spring, same thing, right? You're outside busting your ass, doing whatever it is, and then next thing you know, it's summer, and then boom. It's crazy.
I mean, let's talk about like how ultimately superior the hierarchy that fall has over the other seasons, right? Like, fall's by far the best season, and I don't even think it's close, if I'm being quite honest with you.
Whoa,
maybe
big statement here.
like, if it was out of 100%, I think fall's like a good 50%, and the rest maybe occupy like the difference in between. Like, it's probably like,
So you're not a summer guy, huh?
I don't know, summer's cool and everything. Like, it would be fall, summer, winter, spring.
Wow.
And spring's just kind of like, I don't know, it just kind of reminds me of humidity.
And you're not saying this because you're a hoodie guy, right?
Well,
We're
I mean,
a hoodie company, right?
I just enjoy the fall. Like, I like when they cut down, like, we live next to a cornfield, so as soon as they start cutting the corn down, I'm like, all right, it's the time of the year. It's like, you know, this is good.
Because it is funny, we were talking about this, right? We sort of lost our mojo on the clothes because
Number of
it's
reasons.
tough releasing hoodies in the summer, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And all of a sudden it starts to cool down a little bit, and we're like, our mojo's back. Let's get going here. Let's get going. Fire
Exactly, right. Yeah, I think I said that yesterday to you. I was like, oh, well, it's wintertime.
Yep.
Yeah, time
Get the
to
hoodies
start
out.
dropping stuff. No, I don't know. I always enjoy hoodies. I think we talked about this before. It's just, you could actually see the difference from like I mean, I hate to use the comparison, but like a Walmart hoodie versus a really top-notch hoodie, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a big difference. But yeah, and we had a little bit of little hiccups in the road with, I guess,
Our
manufacturing.
our printing guy.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a guy who is no longer our guy.
Doesn't appear that way. I mean, you know, it's kind of strange when you start to call or, you know, someone typically who's more responsive to you versus someone that kind of you could tell is kind of like more so fading away from things.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's the age-old story when you're kind of dealing with small,
Smaller
mom-and-pop shops, right? There's value in that. And there's also some challenges to that, right? And we're kind of experiencing both, right? We love the guy because at the time he was very attentive to our small needs, right? We're not a big company, but again, and he was local. So it was easy to kind of do things on the fly and do quick changes and shifts and just, it was a good guy, right? I mean, he still is a good guy, I'm sure, but he's kind of gone MIA on us. And I think part of it's because I don't know if he lost his lease on his building or if he was just trying to move or downsize. And
I don't know.
I don't know if something happened there because the place he was supposed to go to, I don't think he's there. And so, we're...
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head, hit the nail on the head, Joe, because what it was is like just as fast as like as a business you could drop a manufacturer for a smaller business, they could drop you the same way just because like that's kind of the unspoken rule. Like you're not really into a contract, whereas like if you go with like a bigger place, you kind of have that reliability, but then at the same time, like you said, it doesn't cater to those smaller business needs.
And we had another fallback that was local, but
he's getting close to retirement, I think.
Well, I mean, I thought some of the quality suffered in the last one, so that's a whole nother issue, right? Which we don't want to ever really kind of go down that rat hole. And so I think we've got another option that we're looking into so that we can get cranking on some stuff.
Ironically, an old reliable. This was early in the starting of the company. This person was there. I mean, and rather than kind of breaking during the whole COVID thing, they actually made a killing, and now they're doing fantastic, which is always good to hear. So that's kind of the news for, I guess, clothing is concerned. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I mean, we should really just kind of publicly say we're going to do something and hold to it because we've been really off.
So I think I was doing some thinking because I had a lot of time to think this weekend because we had a wedding down in West Virginia.
Yeah,
So,
well, we'll talk about that in a
yeah.
second because I do want to hear about that.
But I was thinking, like, what should our new thing be for breast cancer? Because we should start planning now.
Holy mackerel! I totally forgot about that.
Right.
Which is sad. Oh man, you're right. That's man.
And I was thinking, I was like, well, we did the hoodies.
Well,
for
we've
a
done
couple
hoodies
times, and-
3 years now running.
Yeah,
or at
3
least-
years.
Yeah, so maybe
And I was like, we should definitely change it up. And I was just thinking, and people always kind of want, like, there's always a specific thing that some person wants that maybe not everyone wants. Like, kind of like people throw out the ideas, oh, pink hoodies, or oh, long sleeves, or t-shirts, or whatever. So we gotta just kind of hone in
pink
on
long
something.
sleeve would be pretty slick.
Yeah, pink,
I mean, that kind of
maybe a pink long sleeve, because this is what we did. Like the first the first ever breast cancer thing we've ever done was a pink long sleeve. It was a pink long sleeve. with
Yes, I do remember. Yep,
black
Yep,
and white going down the sleeve. So maybe as like a homage to that, we could maybe like recreate some variant of that, or just kind of do our own twist with
we
it.
could. I guess we could look at long sleeve, the really light hoodies. The long
Yeah,
sleeve
I know what you're
hoodies.
talking
It's
about.
almost like a t-shirt that's
Yeah.
got the hoodie thing on it. So it's not a full blown heavy duty, heavyweight hoodie that we've kind of typically done the last couple of years. But maybe we just do a long sleeve
Yeah. So there's a
hoodie
couple options
that could be
we
layered
do.
underneath something or whatever. So,
Yeah, a couple options we could do with that.
but yeah,
we'll
I totally forgot
brainstorm.
about that.
Yeah. So we should start getting going on that, I guess, behind the scenes. And then like I said, we've had those, or like you've been saying, we've had those T-shirts that have been in my house, just quote unquote collecting dust for a number of
we got
number
the
of months.
materials. We just have to get the designs and
Yeah, exactly. So let's try to put by October 1st, we'll have something out. How do you think about that?
I don't think we'll have it out by October 1st, to be
don't
honest
think?
with you. It's already
September
September. It's the middle of September, and we gotta spin the wheels up.
We'll do by maybe end of first week. Then we'll try it. We'll see.
So
that'd give us 3 weeks.
Yeah,
4 weeks.
I mean, we need to get it done in October, and we actually have to have them shipping because I know last time the breast cancer hoodies didn't ship until November.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
Yeah,
we gotta
I
avoid
forgot
that, too.
about that. That was
Yeah.
Was that last year?
That was last year.
Damn.
Yeah, we had some challenges there too. So
Yeah. Okay. Well,
the
that's-
world's had some challenges when it comes to supply chain, right? So we're not alone in that. But yeah, that one
Yeah.
suffered a little bit.
what is it called when you're importing stuff also from like overseas? I know not that we've got it from overseas, but like they're called like tariffs,
Yep.
right? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
That's just the price to get something from
Yeah.
overseas to here. Okay.
The tax, whatever. Yeah.
Got you. Okay. Word. Real quick, not to really change the mood a whole lot, but yesterday, did you hear about the guy from Philadelphia? He was a rapper that went to California and he got shot. Like,
No.
okay, so there's this rapper from Philadelphia. He went to, he was over in California. His name was PNB Rock, and he was on a show like a week ago talking about how like LA has kind of like been more bad recently with like robbings and targeting rappers that have like big jewelry.
All the bling.
Exactly. So he was talking about that, and just yesterday he was actually shot and like pronounced dead.
Oh man.
Yeah, literally 2 o'clock.
So he was foreshadowing. That sucks.
Yeah, dude. It literally was terrible, and
I guess it's not called bling. It's called drip. Is that what? I mean, see if I get my acronyms or my.
You're kind of in the wheelhouse. It's all the same thing at the end of the day.
I know,
Bling,
but-
drip. Yeah.
Like
Drip's
bling,
more
oh, that dude's from the 80s or 90s,
Yeah.
right? It's drip, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's
officially.
Drip. Yeah, drip.
Okay,
Drip.
cool.
But no, we want to send our condolences to him and his family.
Oh, speaking of condolences, the Queen. So,
Oh shit. Yeah.
our condolences to the English nation, England,
Yeah.
Great Britain.
That was brutal on Twitter. Did you see all this stuff on Twitter? with
You know, it's a cesspool. I don't even.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. I didn't see any of it, and I just can only imagine. People are
Yeah.
just freaking.
I mean, it was bad. And let's just say that they were just like throwing shots back, saying like, "Oh, you guys know that 9/11's in 2 days." Like,
Yeah,
it was
it's
like a
just-
back and forth. It was actually insane.
People are just. I don't get it.
I had to get off Twitter because it was actually
Apparently,
insanity.
so does Elon Musk. He's still banging away trying
Well,
to get the hell out of
I
that.
saw he was
bitch.
also taking shots at Instagram too, on his whole thing.
Oh, I
Like,
didn't catch that. But
Yeah, he was taking shots at Instagram, saying that it's supposed to be like a reality app, but in truth, it's not a reality app. It's just people like flexing on each other. like
Yeah.
one after another. Which I mean,
But
every
social media
that's
in general,
kind of social
right? I mean,
media.
that's all it is.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just a whole conversation in itself. More so, did remember. I forget. Excuse me, the name of the album you told me to listen to.
Oh, Tool. Yeah.
Yeah, Tool. And I did listen to it. It was good. I mean, I took some notes on it, but it was more so like if I could wrap it all into one thing, it was more so like kind of like a train, like a slow startup, like
Yeah.
kind of had like a build, and then towards the end you kind of got that
So
full powerhouse effect.
I mean, not to microanalyze and stuff like this, but I mean, if you ask me, that's the beauty of, Tool's music is there's so many layers to the music
Yeah,
itself,
it was
right?
good.
I mean, that's the difference, I think, between, well, I shouldn't say that because it's not really fair, but I mean, rap and...
Well, I would say today's day and age, the TikTok age of music. It's because TikTok's day and age of music, it's quick, fast, 2-minute tracks max,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're kind of just getting it out there. Bro, I listened to the...
So, I mean, I think that's the reason why I kind of like Kanye's, the Donda, right? I mean, very layered, right? It's
Yeah.
not just, let's do a 3-minute rap just bitching about, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And some of that's good, but I mean, generally speaking, I think rap for me is just... It just kind of comes across as not very layered or very, not. I don't want to say no effort, but
no
it's
depth.
Just,
It doesn't have much going on,
yeah,
and I get that. Like for example, the first song right off that album, I think it was like an 8.5-minute track. Or
Yeah.
It was like very like long, and like you said, it had a lot going on and a lot to unpack. Like the first like 2 minutes was just kind of like a slow build up, and then by like the middle of the song, it had a lot to unfold. So
Yeah.
it was really good. I did appreciate it. I mean, I'm not. Hold on. How should I say this? It's not like I'm unfamiliar to that type of thing because a lot of my friends listen to like the older type of music, like who do they listen to?
Oh, all the classic rock stuff.
Like Led Zeppelin.
Yeah,
That's kind of like their thing. So I'm used to that like 8-minute song, but the fact that it was kind of different in the sense where it had like a slower build up, I did appreciate. So it was good. It was definitely, you could tell like night and day from something that were to come out like within this month versus back then. So
Well, I
it was
mean,
good.
that's actually a recent album. I mean, that
Really?
yeah, 2000. It was probably just before COVID. I'm thinking. I don't even know. It's recent. If it's the
Oh, really?
yeah, it's 2020ish or something.
Yeah,
That's their most recent album. They've been around for a long time, but
okay. So they're like an older band, would you say?
no,
No.
older in the sense of what? I mean, I think that they've been around since the late 90s, maybe.
Okay, so they're not old then. That's like the 90s. That's
I mean, look, I mean, depending on
that's
who
like
you're
Motley
talking
Crue.
to, right?
That's like Motley
The
Crue's era?
1990s is super old, right? For me, that's kind of like
that's more recent. I
sort
would
of
say.
mid pack.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who came out around like the 90s, like as far as like other bands and whatnot.
Well, I mean, 90s. Yeah, 90s would have been GNR and Guns N' Roses, so that would have been early 90s. But
Okay, yeah, sure. It was good though. I liked it. Last, real quick before we get into the wedding story, the Apple event. What did you think? This is kind of up more your neck of the woods.
I mean, I think right. I am a major Apple junkie.
I think everyone
right?
on the podcast knows that
Probably,
at this point.
Yeah, I mean, so I am the guy who pretty much updates his phone every cycle, right? So I've had every phone. I don't know if I've ever skipped a generation, maybe once, but I am very underwhelmed, to be honest with you. I think there's some cool things, but I don't think any of them are cool enough to kind of get me to pull the trigger on, buying another $1,200 phone.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think you're not alone with that. I mean, when we were kind of coming up here, we kind of talked like. I literally said the only reason I would get the new phone is because
Something's wrong with your old one.
Something's wrong with the old one, or like my contract's been over, and it would be like theoretically like cheaper per month if you upgraded because that happened a couple of times. But like you said, you end up owing a lot more money long term.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me wonder because I mean, if you look at the last couple of Apple releases on phones, almost all of the technology advances is the camera. Right?
Yeah,
and even this one,
I noticed that.
I mean, if you look at the specs, they're almost identical between that and the 13, except the camera, right? The camera goes from like 12 megapixels to 48 megapixels. So I guess if you're a hardcore photo taker, maybe there's some merit there. But for me, I'm not banging pictures out like crazy, and 12 megapixels is more than fine for, putting it up on Facebook or Instagram.
No,
So I am
agree.
just... I'm just not ready to pull the trigger. It was funny though, because I actually got really excited because AT&T, who's my carrier, had this thing where you could trade in, I could trade in my 13 and they would give me $1,000 credit. And I'm like,
way.
holy shit, I only paid like $1,200 for the phone. This is great. But then you read the fine print and it's kind of crazy, right? They'll give you $1,000, but they give it to you as a monthly discount over 3 years.
So 1,000 divided by 3.
So basically, I could trade in my iPhone 13, right? And get a 14. The 14 is going to cost me probably $1,200 because I always get like a 256 or a 512 gigabyte one. And
wait, hold on. Do you actually use like the whole battery?
No,
or the whole storage?
No. 256 is more than enough for me on a phone. I don't, because everything's streamed anyway these days, right? So memory.
Back then I feel like.
So the only thing I read is that because of that 48 megapixel camera, if you start banging out 48 megapixel pictures, like those pictures alone are like 100 megabits a pop, right?
Okay.
So
really,
yeah.
Oh, geez.
Especially if you're shooting RAW and all this other stuff. Most people don't, but if you want to take advantage of that camera you're paying all this money for,
you have
and
you
want to start shooting, Apple RAW video, that shit takes up some serious memory. So that's where they said that's where you might get burned.
Okay.
If you go with something smaller, but if you're just doing videos and music and lower end stuff, 256 is probably more than enough.
Yeah.
But
you were saying you'd buy the $1,200 version for that.
Yeah. So in order to get the $1,000 discount, you got to buy the $1,200 version on a 3-year plan. So and so if you get bored after that first year and you want to trade it in, because you're getting a discount on your monthly payment, you end up getting burned.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
you don't really get the full $1,000 unless you sit it out the 3 years. So it's basically one of these kind of hidden. It looks really good on paper, but what they're doing is they're locking you into for 3 years.
No, I mean that. Yeah.
So I was like, what? That's that. I'll just pay off this phone and I'll.
I mean, with the rate of how things are going, you could probably get away with the next 3 years. But at the same time, I remember before when Apple would come out with a phone, like for example, from the 4 to the 5, like
there was some serious leaps.
Like there was like
technology.
some crazy things. You would go from like kind of like a more sleek look to like a more boxier look with the 5, then the 5 to like for example,
because I remember like you'd have Touch ID, which was huge.
Yeah.
And then you went to Face ID, right?
Yeah.
And so there were some pretty significant kind of things.
If you remember too, the actual screens, they got like stronger because like people always said like, oh, if like your wind hits the phone of a certain way, like it'll crack. Like they started upgrading like the screen more so and all these different things where there was like these huge leaps that they would take. But now I feel like it's almost more reliant.
Generational. It's just,
Now it's more reliant strictly on like the iOS updates. Like if you have like a better iOS update, like that's kind of like the thing. Like with the new 14, besides like a better chip, like a state-of-the-art chip, they say, you get the dynamic island or whatever they're calling it these days.
Look, that's kind of neat. But again, I don't know if it's enough for me to
get a whole new phone for that. I feel like they could just like with the new iOS, they could just send a dynamic island to you.
I read about that, and it's kind of cool because I guess eventually apps will start to take advantage of it, and so your notifications will flash in that little island.
That'll be cool.
So there's some really cool stuff that I think will eventually kind of get there. But I'm like, okay, I'll just wait until next year and see if I'll get that and get something else, right? So we talked about the watches, right? Because the watches was the other big thing, and that's the one thing that I think I am going to buy, only because I'm wearing a Generation 5 or the Generation 5 watch. So now that they're on 8, right? There are some new things that I think are kind of neat. Like,
this is the Watch Ultra you're talking about.
Is that it was like, so I think I'm going to get that one, but I want to see it in person because it's a big ass watch, right? It looks like a big ass watch, right? And I'm okay with that, but I want to see it.
They released for the people that don't know or living.
Well, they have a Series 8, which is just a traditional like everything else, right? And then they have this Apple Watch Ultra, which is kind of like I guess they call it like the Casio or the Garmin sports watches for runners and skiers and divers and all this stuff. It's kind of maxed out for outdoor sports, which is perfect, right? But it's like a 49 millimeter where the other watch was 45, so it's pretty big and it just looks kind of bulky.
And they also released new AirPods.
Yeah,
I honestly enjoy the the regular AirPods, but someone was telling me that the AirPod Pro, I guess the first one, is just as good. Like, so like what can they possibly be doing? Like, I mean, the ones that have the noise canceling.
The only thing that I would tell you that you need is, well, you need noise canceling, but you also need the spatial audio.
In the Pros.
Yeah, they may all have spatial audio now, but if they don't, right, you need that. That's worth it because it's really cool.
Okay, yeah, I mean, sure. I only had the first gen, like the very first. I remember.
Yeah, you don't have spatial audio, so that's you're missing out on that.
What it was is I had extra credits. I think I told this story before. At college, and I bought that. So I haven't upgraded in quite some time. So maybe I'll do that. But yeah, I mean, spatial audio. If you haven't experienced it, it's pretty slick. Like you got the headphones on, and it gives you like a 3D. Like the music is behind you, on the side of you. I mean, it's pretty slick. Yeah, I want to get the noise canceling ones. So maybe that'll be my next purchase.
That's also really slick.
Yeah,
yeah.
So I went to this wedding, and it's kind of funny we were talking about watches because we didn't like. They were just saying that one of the kind of like the general rules at the wedding for the people that were in it was like no Apple Watches because they kind of felt like it took like they were just like either wear like a traditional or just don't wear one because they felt like the Apple Watch kind of like takes away from like I don't know the classiness of the wedding. I don't know. It was just kind of like an unspoken rule that we talked about behind the scenes, and I was like, I really don't have any like nice watches, and I was like, I don't know. I might have to go out and get like something nice, but not like break the bank getting like a Rolex or something like that. You know what I mean?
We've talked about this, right? I mean, I have a Rolex and I never wear it. I haven't worn it in I haven't worn it in probably 6 or 7 years.
But like, for me to even go out, I'm not going to spend crazy amount, maybe $300, $400, $500 because it's very situational. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be wearing the Apple Watch. I'm going to be looking at my fitness and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
I mean, you could probably spend like $100 on a really nice band, and it looks classy. I mean,
I guess so. You could probably finesse it. I
mean, I can see where they don't want people showing up with like orange and baby blue, Tiffany blue or something. Yeah, I do too. Right, I have an orange band, but I mean, I get that. But if you just wrap it with a black leather band.
I need to get one.
Come on. I mean,
I need to get a different band because mine's like baby blue. So like you would be able to. It's like you can see that thing from like a mile away.
It's funny because I would never ever wear an orange band, but here I am wearing an orange band on my watch, right? And it's actually I wore it so much that it's now got like dirt embedded in it and stuff like that. I got to replace it, but I don't know. I mean, it's a special day, so I get it.
Yeah, we gotta dress it up a little bit, but so it was.
Yeah, there's pictures of everybody smoking cigars and drinking and just making, and they're worried about watches.
That's more like classy nowadays, right?
It's like, come on.
What's it called? So we did go. So let me kind of preface this by saying, if you watch or listen to the episode, I don't know if it was 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
It was with my friend Mel, who has that kind of like Southern drawl.
Yep.
Definitely able to tell it. We went down for his wedding, him and Taylor, now Taylor Mayhew. Congratulations to them.
So to frame this again, right, this is a guy who you originally met online. Actually, right? You did meet in person eventually, but I mean,
we did meet online. We were complete strangers.
It was a gaming relationship.
So we literally, we queued into a game battles match, which is essentially competitive play for gamers.
Yep.
And I think we smoked his team. They sent us friend requests, and they asked if I wanted to play in a tournament with them. And then from that maybe 20-minute interaction, just became friends ever since, and over the years grew like a really strong relationship to the point where, like you said, we've ended up meeting in person, and then now I was actually in his wedding. Like I was one of the groomsmen at his wedding, and everyone down there opened me with open arms, or they welcomed me with open arms.
Yeah,
and it was fun. I mean, like it was like his dad came up to me and he was like, so you guys were met. He's like, Mel like absolutely loves you and everything, and he was like, you're part of the family, and he was like, but you guys like what? You just met on the game? He's like, that's what happened, and I was like, yeah. I mean, we just started playing games together, and
it gives hope for us parents who have kids who live 24/7 on video games that socialization may actually occur in a different way, right? But yeah, I mean,
we had a blast down there.
It's kind of wild.
It was fun. Yeah, I mean, they're all super nice down there. It's funny though, like because you travel a lot, like. You just kind of go like one state down or 2 states down, and then all of a sudden this draw comes out of nowhere.
Well,
this
West Virginia is, I mean, I love West Virginia. I'm an outdoorsy guy, right? So I love West Virginia. But so it's a different place.
Their landscape down. My first time going to West Virginia, it's literally all it's like mountain ranges. At least the part that we were at, it's just like mountain, valley, road in between, and then his part was like Logan County. For anyone that's listening that might be a local there, it's how do I word this? Okay, so think between like 4 mountains. There's one on either corner, and it's literally just
between all. Yeah, it's cool.
And it's just literally a what do you call that? A shopping center with everything. Everything is in this one shopping center, and then nothing for miles. It's just like a drop in like imagine you just took a drop and put it in the middle of the thing. It's literally nothing around it, but it was a great time.
The funny thing is, most of America's like that, right? Most of America's like that, right? Yeah. It's not like downtown, Philadelphia.
Yeah, no.
The East Coast, the Eastern Seaboard, right? It is what you experienced is what probably 80% of the country's like, right? You go to South Dakota, go anywhere, right? You go to the Eastern Shore of Maryland or Virginia, right? And that's it. Right, there's a Walmart as an anchor chain or a Target or something, and then there's a bunch of this stuff in a strip mall, and that is it for miles and miles and miles.
We talked about this before, but they're like a big part of transportation for them is those things that you have. That
the UTVs.
Yes,
because they're legal, street legal.
They like drive it everywhere. Like we saw one at Kroger down there. Like they have it everywhere. Like that's kind of like a mean of transportation, or they're either hauling them. Like it's cool. Like
I can't tell you how much I want to move out of Pennsylvania and just go to someplace where that's that's pretty badass.
Yeah, and you
for me that's pretty badass.
Yeah, you get to drive around and you get to like set up shop somewhere, and then that's kind of it, man. It seems very peaceful. It's very like slower paced, definitely for sure. Like you kind of, I don't know. They all seem kind of happy down there too. So
yeah. I mean, it's a good place. I like it.
Yeah, that was my first time, and I'll definitely be going back for sure.
So that's kind of cool. So, I mean, were there other people in the wedding that you kind of knew, or is it just you kind of just know him? And
yeah, so we traveled down there in a group of people that we play like online with. So it was like all my friends locally to us that went down there, but I met a few of his groomsmen online as well that were his friends in real life, like this kid named Boo and this other guy named Adam. They work with Mel, but I knew them through the game. Just met them like once or twice, and they were extremely cool. They're like, "Oh, Rook," and I was like, "Yeah, what's going on, man?"
That's like, funny though. You know people for so long, and you never actually.
It was very cool. It was a very cool experience, and I don't know. I feel like if you know someone for the most part, and you feel like you've known them for a long time, and you're good friends with them. Like I've been friends with him for 7 years, so I had a really good feeling like it wasn't going to be like a weird interaction. Like it was super cool, and I met him and his brother. I met his brother for the first time.
So I guess it's one thing I never really asked. So when you're doing the team, video games and stuff like that, I'm assuming you're using Discord for kind of your chat. Now, is that video or is that audio only?
So Discord is everything, and this is why I highly was so coming from the corporate stuff, and I'll answer that question. It's both. You could do voice, video, and chat, everything, right? But coming from the corporate world, we're used to Teams, we're used to Zoom. That's kind of like our thing. I mean, there's another one I'm forgetting the name of.
There's a bunch. GoToMeeting. There's a ton.
There's a bunch. But Discord, it's nice because if you are the CEO of let's say you're a startup company and you have employees that are reliant on Teams or Zoom, and you could see who's in what room at what time, how long they've been in there, and you could drop in. Whereas like I feel like with Zoom, it's kind of inconvenient. You have to have links, you have to have X, Y, and Z. Discord, if you just join up in the thing one time, you're already in there. All you have to do is...
Oh, I know what you're saying. Because they have the sub-channels and stuff like that.
They have the sub-channels, and if it's like supposed to be restricted access, you could lock the channel so not just anyone could get in there. I feel like it's such a more utilized tool than Zoom or than any other platform. It just kind of maybe has like a bad rep in the corporate world because it was predominantly gamers or
I get it. Online. I mean, because I've used all of it, right? And you're right. You're absolutely right.
You have to like have all these links. You have to have everything. If you already are in it, you join. You literally have an access code, a one-time access code. Click, you're already in it. Now, boom, you could see all the meetings. There's sub channels for whatever, and you could chat in those sub channels. So it's a really good tool. I think that if we ever took off and got to a place where we could have like employees and stuff, I think that would be like the main thing, because if you wanted to see who was actually getting their work done, you could just join in a channel and just be like, hey, what's going on? Who's here?
Is Discord owned by Microsoft? I can't remember.
I think you might be right, because Xbox just got Discord. So
Okay, well then it's owned by Microsoft.
yeah,
right?
so I think there's some sort of partnership or it's connected in some way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's funny you say that but I'm wondering. I mean, were you primarily using audio, or did you actually have video chats? Where you?
No, it was strictly audio for a number of years.
Yeah, it's a big difference because I mean, like obviously with
Video
COVID, it's so funny. We were just talking about that because now, the last 6 to 9 months we've been kind of, from a work perspective, I've been out and about, seeing people face to face for the first time, and even. As recent as my trip just a little while ago, right? I had breakfast with a partner that I literally have not physically seen in 2.5 years.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. And a really good partner, but it's just one of those things where haven't seen him physically face to face in 2.5 years, yet it didn't feel that way because I've been on, Teams audio or video calls, and it's just you take it for granted, and it's so funny how like timelines have just blurred. Like,
oh my God, you're telling me?
I'm like, okay, it's been 2.5 years. It doesn't feel like it feels like I just saw you like three or 4 weeks ago.
And it's really rough for the guys that kind of were. I mean, like you going in person and then going online. Like you understand where I'm about to go with this. Like when we were in college, going in college, and then stopping that, going remote, and then kind of going back for a little bit of time. But then for work, going back remote, it's like
I know.
You know what I mean? It is kind of like a weird thing. It's like
it's a really cool dynamic. It's so funny though because it
feels like we're still in COVID in a sense because like we're back at home.
And I also have gotten pretty jaded because we did a internal meeting on site up in Long Island, and it was so funny because after the meeting we were all like, why the hell did we travel to Long Island, stay overnight for a meeting that we could have done on Teams, right? We're all like, we don't need to be here, right? The whole point of that meeting was more so just to get everybody together and back communicating in the face-to-face sense. But it was so funny. We were all like, why the hell did we come here?
Yeah, I feel
we could have just done it over Teams.
I feel like people are now starting to take advantage of like going in person. Like there's this thing where people have like these work galas and they'll like go for like a weekend or something like that. But it's just like the company will pay for it, but you could just go there to connect with, I guess, employees or coworkers to meet to have a connection because you're all online or whatever. So
yep.
I don't know. That's kind of that talk, I guess. But overall, the wedding was fantastic. They went to Cancun yesterday. They're staying in like a crazy room. He was showing me. So shout out to them, man.
That's cool.
Yeah. I've never been to Cancun. I would like to go.
I have, and it's whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Mexico.
Well, you're not a beach guy.
No, I don't know if that's really true. I mean, Christ, I spent my entire youth at a beach on a personal watercraft. So trust me, I am a beach guy. I'm just not a big fan of. Well, I'm not a big fan of Cancun. Cabo San Lucas was really nice, but
Cancun's Mexico, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it just doesn't really do anything for me.
Yeah. Did you want to add anything? If you have any notes, or did you want me to go to the other conversation? Kind of.
Well, I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, it's been like 2.5 weeks since we've been on, and there's just not really a whole lot new on our standard topics. Like I was thinking, let's talk crypto. And I'm like, yawn, right? There's really nothing going on there, right? Let's talk Elon Musk, yawn. There's really nothing going on there, right? I mean, it is the same BS, right? I obviously have been listening to some of the podcasts that I normally talk about, and again, not really anything going on there, right? Fights. There
was a couple interesting things that happened.
There's some stuff going on there, but I mean, even the UFC fight where Kazmat,
he missed weight
by 7.5 freaking pounds. Like, how's that shit happen?
So he missed the weight, and you could tell Dana White's in a position where he knows that there's not a lot going on in the UFC.
Yeah,
and because before the old Dana White, you're out of there if you miss.
I know, it was crazy. It's like they shuffled the card just to accommodate the fact that this dumbass missed his weight,
and he wasn't mad about it. The doctor said he couldn't do anything. I mean, I get that's all fine and dandy. But I think that was all Dana White probably pulled him aside and was like, listen, you're going to have to go out there and you're going to have to get weighed because we need some promo for this fight. Because truth be told, that did bring a lot of attention to the UFC. But at the same time, the old Dana White, I feel like would have got them guys out of there. If like McGregor was still an active fighter.
I mean, I don't think he had any options, right? So, I mean, that's the problem. Right?
Exactly. And I don't know. I just feel like.
But 7.5 pounds, I'm like, because that was, I mean, apparently they were still contemplating having the fight go off, right? If what's his name had signed off on it, he would have fought him, but he's like, I'm not going to fight a guy who's 7 because that's significant when you get to that level of skill.
I don't even know why that fight was there to begin with. If I'm being honest, that Russian dude's a dog. Like him versus Diaz. I don't know. I couldn't see it, even if they were at the same weight.
Well, they were trying to give him a send off, right? So I mean, big fight send off before his contract runs out. But
I don't know, man. I just felt
he whooped the dude's ass who stepped in, right, in one friggin' round.
One round.
Right? The other fight actually turned out pretty good because that won like almost 4 rounds, I think.
Diaz won, I think.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. But took a while to get there. Who was he fighting? Tony Ferguson or whatever. So
I saw in the world of boxing, I saw Ruiz is fighting Wilder.
And I saw just the other day that Tyson and Joshua is a go now for December 3rd. Good. Right, it's official. Nice. Well, he's agreed. They've all verbally agreed, and now it's just a matter of, I guess, the paperwork and who knows what that shit.
Non-binding contracts.
Yeah. But December 3rd is supposedly the date for that fight.
That'll be interesting. And then Jake Paul, I guess we haven't talked about that.
He's fighting Silva. That's going to be pretty interesting too.
Yeah, I mean, so
shit's going on, man.
I think Joe Rogan said this, and I'll say this here because it was a really good piece of a good context for people who don't know. Jake Paul, regardless of whatever people say, he's fighting old, washed-up UFC guys, whatever the case is, right? Like, he's not a pro fighter. But now, if you take the association of him being a YouTube kid and his arrogance and everything, you just look at him from a fighter's point of view. He's a new fighter, fresh in the game, but he did knock out numerous opponents, and he knocked out Tyron Woodley. Now, if you say, listen,
you're still gonna harp on that.
No, so listen, right? Listen.
Freaking fluke.
So if you heard there's a guy coming up, he's knocked out a couple of the UFC guys, but he just more recently he's fighting Silva, but he just knocked out Tyron Woodley. You're gonna be like, what does he have to offer? So he's gonna have some more credibility, but just because he's kind of holding on to that whole YouTube side of things, people can discredit him. I mean, I think when it's all said and done, I feel like he does have potential. He's a great athlete, him and his brother. So I think there's a lot going on there. But that's just kind of how things played out, just because they're YouTubers. And there was also that YouTuber event that happened.
Talking about the KSI one, I think we talked.
Did we talk about that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that happened.
Where he fought the 2 dudes. And
yes, okay, we did talk about that. All right, good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think there's some association with YouTubers that it just kind of is like, they're not real fighters. But I mean, if you heard his
the reality is, right, until he really fights a true professional boxer, well, we're never going to know. We're all going to guess, and that's part of the thing, right? So he's leveraging the YouTube thing. He's leveraging fights that are not, like, from a purist perspective, they're not really good fights. But
Silva's a dog, bro.
No, this is going to be a test, man. This is a legit test versus some of the shit that he's fought
this
before.
Is
if you
going
ask
to
me,
be an absolute
because Silva's got a good stand-up game, or he did, right? So we'll see.
He has an incredible. Like you said, he did have an incredible stand-up game. I don't know when last time he fought, but he also,
I would think,
he also just got. Didn't he have a boxing match where he knocked out a actual boxer or something like that?
Yeah, but it was probably an exhibition. Yeah, I probably.
You know what I'm talking about, though?
I do remember something, but...
And so we'll see, because I don't know who it was. They said that Silva, if he was he was a boxer, he could be a world-class boxer. So.
That's what I've heard, so I think it'll be an interesting fight.
Be a really good one. I'm very interested to see.
I can't, when it comes to the whole Paul thing, I can't get excited anymore until the day it actually happens, because
how many changes
it just seems like there's so much bullshit that leads up to it, and someone misses freaking weight or some dumb shit, and it's like, come on, man, really?
Yeah. I don't know. I would like to see this one. I would really like to see this. I don't know when do you know when it's happening?
I think it's coming out really quick, I think.
I'll check real quick.
I thought it might be in October. Maybe it's November. But I think Tyson Fury is going to end Joshua's career, so I think he's done, over, period.
Yeah, I don't know. I think who's gonna Tyson
Fury's gonna win. Yeah. There's no doubt.
And then what about the Wilder and Ruiz?
I don't know. I mean, I saw Ruiz just fought, and he was back to his flabby self. It was really funny because they had
October 29th, by the way, for Jake Paul.
I know Ruiz. They had a whole bunch of publicity photos where he was kind of jacked and ripped and had lost a shit ton of weight, and then I saw the fight, and I'm like,
I think
The dude's right back to being like 50 or 60 pounds overweight.
no, the photos where he was like jacked. I think they literally took Anthony Joshua's body. And
Oh,
they
is
just
that what it was?
Yeah,
Okay, I didn't catch it. So
they
shame
color,
on me for
they color corrected it. I
Okay.
think to make it look like
because I was like, holy shit.
You're talking about the one where he's like absolutely
Yes, he
jacked.
is totally jacked.
That's Anthony Joshua's
okay,
body.
well, they got me. So success, boys. You got me. Because I was like, because I who knows? I hadn't
Yeah.
seen the guy in a while, and I'm like, okay, maybe he, finally just hunkered down and got ripped. And then I saw the fight, and I'm like, what the?
That's kind of like his
what
whole.
just happened?
That's kind of like his whole like shtick though. Is like
He's overweight and pudgy,
kinda,
and yeah, I get
he
it.
like knocks dudes out, and it's just like holy
He's
shit.
got some skills,
Yeah.
right? It's like the Ukrainian dude, right? He's not the biggest dude, but he's got some massive skills.
Exactly right. I mean, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Wilder's. They call him the Bronze Bomber for a reason. He has incredible power. I feel like. I mean, look at the shot he hit Tyson with. Like, I mean, if that's anyone besides Tyson, like,
there's
always
always this dynamic in pretty much every sport where if it wasn't for one other guy, he'd be the top dog of the mountain for like a decade, right?
Yeah, literally.
But there's one other dude who's whooped his
Just
ass,
a
right?
little
It's
bit
kind of
better,
like the Mickelson and Tiger Woods, right? If it wasn't for Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson would have been the greatest golfer of all time, right?
Right.
But one dude, like,
Stopped the whole legacy.
the whole
Yeah.
he's still a very successful guy, right? But
think about it though. Like, if it wasn't for Fury, which is like crazy IQ boxer, like, I don't know, out of his mind boxer, Wilder's that guy, you know what I mean? So I think just because he took a loss to the top guy,
but he's obviously coming off a long layoff too, so it'll be interesting to see.
Well, yeah, when was three? When was that?
God, it's been a long time now, right? I mean, it was in COVID, so late 2020, I want to say.
No chance.
I think so.
Oh my God, no way.
I'm pretty sure it was late 2020.
I always love watching the bigger guys like go at it though, like the heavyweights. Like there's always like you can never put.
Well, those two dudes are big dudes.
That's
right?
what I'm saying.
I mean, that was a good. I mean,
you
seriously.
can never put like money on those fights because it could go either way in a second.
And
like,
anytime you get the full 12 rounds,
it's always a good one. Yeah.
You can't ask for more.
If I were to, I would make a friendly wager on the podcast. I got Wilder in the Ruiz one, and then obviously Tyson for the Tyson fight. I think that's my prediction. Wilder and Tyson. That's my two. What about you? Ruiz or Wilder?
Wilder's going to win that one probably easily.
And then Fury for that one.
And I think Fury's going to just whoop.
All right, you heard it here first. We're
Joshua's
both locked
ass,
in.
and then his career's over because he's a mess.
Yeah, no, for sure.
He's got no confidence at all.
Who
knows?
Joshua?
Yeah.
You
never know. I mean, maybe the fix will be in, and this will be a way to get a super mega rematch. Who knows? But
yeah. For the boxing people or anyone that you might know better than I do, did Joshua, was he like overhyped kind of going up, or like I heard from like Mikey or someone that he was kind of like an overhyped kind of fighter, like everyone kind of looked at him because
in England it's boxing's a really, really big thing, right, and they were coming off of having a bunch of the top heavyweights, right?
Okay. So they were kind of just looking at him as the next one up.
I think there was a little bit of hype. I mean, he's got some mad-ass skills, and he was kind of cranking out the wins, and then he just, he had that fight, and that was the end of it, right?
Yeah, we'll see.
He lost all of his confidence, and he's just mentally a mess. I mean, you saw when he goes batshit crazy at the post-fight stuff.
Yeah, that was weird.
He's all over the place.
I didn't like that. I just don't see anyone knocking Tyson down, like off of his throne for at least the next 3 years. Maybe when he's like older and kind of like whatever, but not for while he's in his prime. I'd say that. No,
that dude is just legit amazing.
Now, speaking of Tyson, and have you heard about the Hulu thing? Like, there's a documentary about Mike Tyson on Hulu, but Tyson,
it's an unauthorized one, and he was pissed about it.
So I was watching that, and for people who don't know, there's a documentary on Hulu. We just said like,
who the hell subscribes to Hulu? You probably don't, right? So
it's free with with Sprint. You get free Hulu.
All right, because who the hell would subscribe to that shit? I mean, honestly,
you're not wrong.
That's a whole nother rant I could just go off on.
Okay, 1 second. So. There's a documentary about Mike Tyson, 2 episodes every Thursday, but he didn't clear off on it, so they're not giving him any, I guess, of the money, none of the, he doesn't have any part of it, And it wasn't until I got done the 4th episode, I was like talking to my like friends in the Discord, and I was like, "Hey, did anyone like see this or whatever? Like, it's pretty good." And they're like, "Oh yeah, don't watch it." I was like, "Why?" And I was like, because they're like, "Oh yeah, go look at Mike Tyson's Instagram," and he posted a whole thing saying like they're scamming me, like they're trying to use my name for invalid reasons, and I felt so bad because like the damage was done. The damage was done. I haven't watched it since, but it's just crazy that they could release something about a person without their like
it happens all
consent
the time,
about
right?
it.
I mean,
You know what I mean? And they could just kind of like spin the narrative for however they want, because how do we know that those are like truthfully the details?
You don't. I mean, it's just dramatized.
Right, and I feel like it's like messed up.
I mean, it shit happens all the time now, right? You have all the political right and the political left, right?
Yeah.
They're putting out these quote unquote documentaries all the time that are unauthorized, and it's just it's back and forth horse shit.
I thought
who watches that?
I would like
shit?
to see the one with because the one with Jamie Foxx that was supposed to play Tyson had Tyson's support behind it.
Yeah,
so I would
mean,
like
if
to see that movie
if
behind
the
it.
actual person involved has got buy-in, or then you watch it.
Because
But
that
it's
dude's
just-
fascinating, bro. Like 20 years old, like world champion, like endless
that
amounts
was the
of
other
money.
thing. I got to remind me about Thor. I want to talk about that too.
Oh, did you see it?
I did, and I want to go off on that too.
All right, so you want to start with Hulu first?
Well, so the whole subscription model thing is, we talked about this, right? It's whether it's apps or streaming services is just so freaking jacked, and it pisses me off because I'm like, I mean, how many of them are there now? I mean, look, I'm like, you got
Hulu?
HBO, you got Netflix, you got
Paramount.
HBO Max, you got Apple Plus, you got Paramount, you got Hulu, you got ESPN Plus, Disney streaming. I'm like, if you were literally to have all of this shit, right? And all of them probably have one show you want to watch. Right. And I'm like, it's like hundreds of dollars a month, and I'm like,
you're not
mother
wrong.
effer. And it's cool that like AT&T, I get HBO Max free, right? So I get to watch House of Dragons and stuff like that because I wouldn't pay for it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to pay like $15 a month for one freaking show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, holy shit. The only one that I think I truly pay for is Disney, and even that I'm kind of annoyed. But there's at least. It's crazy.
hate Disney, bro. I'm gonna be the first one to say.
Well, I don't like them either, but I mean, so let me just segue into
Thor. And
so
all that,
Thor's on, right? And I didn't see it in the movies, and I know we talked about it because you went and you said, it was okay, and it sucked.
Yeah, it was not good.
I mean, it
right?
was fucking awful. Excuse
about-
my French, right?
All right.
But it was awful.
Quick spoiler alert. So skip forward like 30 seconds. If you plan on watching Thor, I didn't see it yet.
I didn't
How
give
about-
any spoilers.
No,
it
for
just
me,
sucked.
because I'm about to say something. I thought it was so weird, the Thor and Zeus crossover. Like he literally
awful,
killed them in
awful.
like
And-
1
and, you know-
second. It was like he just was like, and he just died.
Awful.
In 1 second, and then he gave like all of his powers to the kids.
Yeah,
That was
it's
crazy.
just
like,
bad.
Like the girl had like a teddy bear that was like charged up with Thor's power and was like killing people with it.
Yep.
I'm like, bro, this is so bad. And on top of that, I'll let you continue the Thor. If you have any more, like,
I mean, other than I just thought it sucked. I mean, the storyline was awful. It was shit. It just was.
what about
bad.
the crossover with like them trying to be like, I don't know what do you want to call that, like with the Rock, and he had to shake another Rock's hand.
I mean,
Out of
that-
place, right?
Yeah, it just. I mean, that's just standard fare now. So I mean, it doesn't even. It's one of those things where you don't even react to it because it's just Disney now throwing that shit in for the sake of
And
throwing it
I
in.
never have a problem with that. I never do. But I just felt
Now
it was
it's
so
obvious, right?
like
it's
it's
just
like
there for.
what is it like?
To
What
check
you
a
could have just
box.
you didn't. This was out of the blue,
Right, it had
random,
nothing to do with the story. It was just a check up freaking box.
and
period.
no, and then I don't know the stuff they're doing with She-Hulk. I didn't watch
So
it.
I have watched none of that. I watched none of Miss
I didn't watch
Marvel,
it
and
either.
I'm sitting there, and I'll give, like, whether you're right or left, right? I'll give the left some credit because it's almost like I feel guilty that I don't want to watch those. Like, oh, you're a misogynist or some bullshit just because I don't think that the subject matter looks all that interesting or entertaining, right?
Like I think
So I haven't watched either one of those, and for me, that's probably the first Marvel series on either Netflix or Disney that I haven't watched because I just have no interest.
I haven't watched those ones either. I also haven't watched Moon Knight. To be fair,
Well, yeah, I watched Moon Knight, and
But-
again, maybe I'm a misogynist, but I mean, yeah, it was.
think
I
you're
thought it was
misogynist
okay.
for that.
I mean,
so no, but the reason I haven't is just because Twitter ruins a lot. I feel like they're just like they just show like the bad clips of things, and you kind of see it and like
Twitter. There's your problem, right?
And you see like Thor or no, sorry, Hulk was like She-Hulk was like twerking with like Megan Thee Stallion. So I'm like, this is like completely like what's going on? So I guess it's my fault because I'm not giving it the fair shake and actually watching it myself. But I don't know. I just think you look at the heyday of Marvel and you look at Iron Man and you're like, this guy built a suit in a cave and here we are with like a lawyer and it's green. It's completely even. Oh my God! You know what series is so slept on? The Transformers movies. Think about how good the CGI back in 2000 and whatever it was, 9 or whatever it was back then. And then you have these Hulk, like the She-Hulk, even the Hulk with what was the guy's name?
Bruce Banner.
The actual actor's name. Nolan or Nolan. I forget, but the one that came out a number of years back with it was Hulk versus the Abomination or something like that.
Yeah, that was Ed Norton.
Norton, that's what it was. Yes, and those ones were fantastic too. I know they got a lot of hate because I think he had some problems on set, but bottom line, the product was good. I thought, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the other thing, in fairness, right? There's so much competition for time, and you can only watch so many shows before you just go, holy shit, I can't. I don't want to spend all my days on the freaking television. No. So I am just so off on Marvel. Now I am excited about like Daredevil coming back, which is 2024. So take a break and nap for a year and a half before some of this shit comes out. The new Captain America looks like garbage. I'm not really sure.
Is there a new Captain America?
Yeah.
Movie or show?
Movie. I think it's going to be
Captain America movie.
Well, it's going to be the new guy.
Falcon.
Yes. I think it's going to be a full-blown movie. I don't think it's going to be a show, I think.
Good.
I like Thunderbolts, which is like a collection of the sort of gray guys, like the Winter Soldier and that Russian dude who was in the Black Widow. And
I'm giving up on Marvel, man. I'm gonna give Black Panther 2 a shot. I mean, bro,
I don't have high hopes.
They have me literally.
I do not have high hopes.
Like the wire is getting thin, Joe. Like
I'm the same way.
It's getting really bad.
It's almost Star Wars. Obi-Wan Kenobi was pretty decent. I don't know, man, but there's so much of it coming now. It's almost getting watered down.
I saw I lied. I want to see Fantastic Four. I've always liked the Fantastic.
But
there's a new one coming out. Or no? Am I lying about? I swear to God,
it's clearly coming, but I don't think anybody knows what the premise or who the actors or anything, right?
Right.
So
I guess
you're kind of up in the air
because it's a Fantastic.
It's been relaunched like 4 freaking different times, and they sucked every one of them. So.
I was young when they came out, so like I always liked the Fantastic Four. I like the one with it was actually Captain America, Chris Evans, when he was the fire guy.
The torch.
Yeah. I liked that one, but I was also young when that came out. So
yeah, and what's his name was the Silver Surfer, which was kind of cool. Lawrence Fishburne, was it Lawrence Fishburne?
I don't know. The Silver Surfer was dope too. Apparently, like that character's supposed to be like uber strong, like super strong Silver Surfer.
Yeah,
like in the comics, he's supposed to be like one of like the top. Yeah, one of the top guys.
Yep. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm really just ragging on Marvel. Just and then so the other thing I guess is you're not a Lord of the Rings guy, right? Did you see any of the?
No,
Amazon?
But I heard it sucked. It wasn't a good remake.
Okay, I'm
you're the other way.
Well, I mean, it's not a movie, right? So it doesn't
show. Sorry.
It doesn't have like what I'll call the start to finish kind of full throttle, 100 miles an hour, because it's a 10 episode or whatever, how many episodes it is.
Slow burn.
So it is building slowly. I mean, graphics. Just the visuals are freaking amazing.
Oh, that's
still,
good to hear.
Right?
Because Marvel been dropping the bag with graphics.
Yeah, well, no.
Okay,
so, I mean, apparently Amazon has put so much money into this, it's sick and beyond belief, right? Good. But the visuals are amazing.
Good.
Storyline isn't bad. I mean, we'll see where it goes. It's only 3 episodes in. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, so I'm okay with it so far.
Right. That's the thing. That's the same thing that happened with Halo. It's the same thing that I guess happened with Fantastic Four. Just because it has the name, people have
that'll pull people in.
And has a great expectation. I think we talked about the new Halo. It had endless potential, but just due to the fact that developers are were lackluster, or they didn't have any new content. They completely killed what could have been one of the greatest new games of our generation. I mean, so I guess I don't know if that's the same thing with Lord of the Rings. I'm just kind of giving a comparison.
I mean, only time will tell, right? I mean, that's the age-old story, right? If you just kind of rest on your laurels and just rinse and repeat, people get bored and say, screw you. I gave you a couple leaps of faith, and now I'm just done with it, and it's tough coming back.
They're just trying to find that same, I guess, that first dragon of the first Lord of the Rings. Like, is it going to still amount to what the first one was?
Yeah. Well, you always have to benchmark it against something, right? So it's a tough benchmark. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, so far it's not too bad. I mean, I don't know.
You know what movie? I got Troy and Lord of the Rings confused for not Lord of the Rings. What was it? Wait, was it Lord of the... What were we just talking about?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Okay, sorry. I just had a brain aneurysm. I always got Troy and that movie confused for some reason. I don't know.
Troy, as in like
Troy, like the movie
Brad Pitt?
Yeah,
Troy?
Yeah, Troy.
Okay,
I don't know why. Those two movies always confuse me for some reason.
That was a cool movie, by the way.
Yeah, it was all right. It wasn't bad. Yeah. It was like the medieval movie. How long where are we at?
We're almost at an hour.
Okay.
So we're pretty much
good.
Toast. Yeah.
So I guess to wrap up, we're going to try to get some clothes out. I guess that's the bottom line.
October, baby.
Yeah, we have to set a deadline. I
Tees,
feel like
long sleeves.
Deadlines are good.
Hoodies. It's all coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the inverse for like, I know we talked about like maybe there being like a seasonal depression, like for like creative stuff. I feel like the fall and winter is like more our thing.
Yeah, no,
like
I agree. It's probably not a bad thing that we kind of took a 6-month break because we were trying to hit every season. And, at some point you kind of get some saturation in the market and people just, how many hoodies can you have or how many tees? So it might, maybe
for
the
their
break
best
is,
interest,
yeah, we'll look at it
you also
glass half full.
You have to also kind of, I think what we could do a better job doing, I think we tried it too, is just we have to kind of make like a calendar and schedule drops accordingly to like how the calendar's laid out. Because like our whole thing is just kind of like, oh, we should drop this design at this time, or we should just put this design out ASAP. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll like kind of come up with a calendar. Like, all right, we know in October's breast cancer. Like we always have something for October. I think September.
So you're talking about just like doing the Apple sort of thing where you have very specific launch dates,
time periods. Yeah,
we always have a big launch on October 15th every year.
Kind of.
I mean,
kind of like that deal. Yeah, I don't know.
That's not a bad thing.
Just got to brainstorm. That's all.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, we'll definitely think of some stuff. So
the only problem is we've been just so bad at throwing dates out and then just completely botching the crap out of it. So I'm a little shell shocked about doing it.
Our whole thing is like we're very much a hurry up and wait kind of like company. You know what I mean? It's like we have all this time, break, and then it's like, all right, hurry up now. It's like towards the end of the end. You know what I mean? So
yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, right.
So all right, I don't really have too much else. It's good talking again. 38 in the bag and getting closer to the magic 50.
I know. What should we do for that? Maybe we'll get
I don't know.
Carol Baskin and Joe Exotic on.
Yeah, sure. That'll happen. I don't think we'll get either one, but who knows?
We'll see. All right. Peace.
Later.